We really hope you're interested in the rise of new faces in the championship because the fighter we're going to talk about today is going to become a force to be reckoned with in just a few years' time. It's Cory "Poppins" McKenna we're talking about, the young woman who's here with a goal to make a lasting mark. So ahead of her next fight, let's talk about her and see what she's made of. First up, McKenna before the UFC. You don't just wake up one day, take a shower, and decide to show up at the UFC. Unless it's your job to maintain the arenas, or you're very high and are suddenly confident that it's professional fighting you were born to do, not the college assignments. Don't ask how we know that. But to secure a place on the roster, you have to be a pro from the very beginning. And even though there are people who aren't very impressed with the 23-year-old Welsh yet, the truth is Cory really deserves the place she's in, and she's got here with talent and hard work. McKenna started fighting ever since she was a kid, and right after finishing high school, she knew this was her passion and the only career path she'd like to pursue. And so instead of going to college, she dedicated herself full-time to MMA, mixed martial arts. Don't get any funny ideas, stay in school, kids. On the 27th of September 2014, she made her debut as an amateur, so at 15 years of age. Alright, don't compare that to what you were doing at that age. Look, some are born to be MMA fighters at 15, and others to be One Direction stans. It's nature. Anyway, it took her only 3.5 years to move from amateur status to a pro, and now she's at the UFC, and she's here to stay. Now for her UFC beginnings. So, the fight which became the reason her talent was recognized in the UFC was on the 4th season of the Dana White Contender Series, which has, to be fair, become the primary source for fishing new talent, and we're not complaining. It was Vanessa Demopoulos who she defeated in that fight that fateful day in 2020. But of course, that wasn't all. She went on to gain an impressive victory over Kay Hansen in her promotional debut on November 14th, 2020. This unanimous win, ladies and gents, was what really sealed the deal. She's now a woman's strawweight and trains at Team Alpha Male. This also made her the very first Welsh female fighter to be in the UFC, which is something she said she's incredibly proud of, and she knows nobody can take this away from her. Everyone makes their country proud differently, alright? You run that place with all your Excel sheets, remember that. But her first significant UFC fight has to be the one in London, held in the March of this year. She's from the UK, so it meant a lot to her. In fact, she actively tried her best to land the London card. As she put it, she tried everything in her power to make it happen. They usually go to the English capital once a year, and it's every UK fighter's dream to get to perform there because of the support that comes with a home arena. And it was the same for her, but it was the only important thing. She also mentioned that her other big reason was that she knew that because of his declining health, it would be one of the last times her dad could come to see her fight. Go cut the onions somewhere else, will ya? Sadly enough, this fight didn't have a happy ending for her, and those cheering for her, including her whole family who was present there. Her opponent, Elise Reed, ended up victorious. Now, to be fair to Cory, it was her first time fighting after 16 months. So yeah, her critics should cut her some slack. Also, this loss broke her 4-fight winning streak. Only one of the 3 judges was in her favor. The other 2 chose Reed as the winner. Again, this fight was after a long break and also her first proper UFC event. So let's not draw any conclusions at this point. So what are her current stats at the UFC? It's a bit too early to judge her on her stats so far because her career has literally only started. But let's briefly see what she's been able to conjure up so far performance-wise. So the first thing you'll notice about her is that the audience can't decide whether she's a better striker or a grappler. If you look up the opinions online, people get quite mad if someone tries to convince them of the opposite of what they think she's good at. Welcome to the internet, it's a weird place. So let's take our case to the official statistics, shall we? Okay, so the stats on the official UFC website say she's got a 44% grappling accuracy, which is 2% higher than her striking accuracy that's sitting at 42%. Make of that what you will. But she's landed significantly more successful strikes than takedowns, so the disagreement is understandable. Her biggest challenge, though, has to be her reach. She's 5'2", which is much shorter than the average fighter. Explains why she's also called the Hobbit sometimes. She said she hasn't checked, but she's sure her reach is the shortest in the UFC. Still, what truly matters is not the stats, but how she's making progress. But where's she headed? McKenna has no doubt had to face a major setback in the form of her London defeat at the hands of Elise Reed. But that was only the beginning of her journey. Now she's headed forwards to her upcoming fight against Miranda Granger in Vegas on August 6th. But again, it wasn't easy for her to cope with her disappointment from her last fight. She's a harsh critic of herself, which is relatable but kind of counterproductive when it comes to competition. So in the 4 months since, she's tried to let go of that and realize that she's still young and has a long way to go. This can be especially hard for her, and she talked about it. She said because she's been used to achieving things fast and has been in the sport for half her life, she finds it difficult to understand that she's still new to the scene and needs time to improve. Clearly though, these few months have been enough for her to prepare for the Vegas fight. She's been hitting the gym, even on her birthday, and training hard. She's positive that she'll do good and is very excited because this will be the first time she'll get into a matchup without an injury. As she shared on her Instagram, ever since the last fight, she's been working on Cory 2.0, and she's sure that she's been able to grow into a happier, healthier, stronger, and more confident version of herself. That is what we like to hear. She's very happy with the progress she's made with both her striking and grappling, and said she's going to give the fight her best and try to secure a clean win. Best of luck with that, Cory. Other news? Now that you're all caught up, let's fill you in on some other news. First, we have the Adesanya versus Pereira. ESPN recently announced one of the biggest events of this year. On the 12th of November, Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira will be facing each other at the Madison Square Garden in New York, in the main event of UFC 281. Since the announcement, it's easily become one of the most talked about and anticipated upcoming fights, mostly because these two have a history, a rivalry that goes back to kickboxing. Adesanya hasn't lost a single time in the MMA's middleweight edition, but could this be it? UFC 281 will also mark the 29th anniversary of the first ever UFC show, so yeah, double the hype. And Lipski missed the weight. Who doesn't want to blow the weighing machine to smithereens every once in a while? But there's one person who wants to do that right now much more than anyone else would ever wish to. The Brazilian MMA fighter Arane Lipski missed the weight by 2.5 pounds in the official UFC Vegas 59 weigh-ins. If it was just a pound, she might have made it in an hour or two as middleweight Sam Alvey did. He missed it by 1 pound at 187 pounds, but came back in at the hour at 186. But alas, Lipski's difference was too much to cover. Lastly, Paddy Pimblett's comments. The Brit Paddy Pimblett recently won the London event, but still his lack of self-defense leaves him receiving a few dangerous blows. He reflected on this, and guess what he said? He said he enjoys getting punched in the face. Well, that solves it then. Sure, it's good to love your profession, but come on now, you don't have to break your face for it. But to each their own. If he's enjoying that, then it's fine as long as he keeps winning. But he was still disappointed at his performance, even though he won, because he thought he should have finished it earlier. That's a wrap for this video. Who do you think has more chances of a victory, McKenna or Granger? And who are you rooting for in this fight? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.